Hi, I'm Chris Long with GoFish Digital, and welcome to another episode of 60 Second SEO. Today we're going to talk about what time to first byte is, why it's important for your website, and how you can measure it. So time to first byte is a performance metric that basically measures how quickly your server is able to respond to a request from the browser. The server has to respond before anything else can happen, whether that's loading JavaScript, CSS, images. So this response is really crucial because if you have a slow time to first byte, that's going to impact everything else. No amount of JavaScript optimization or CSS cleanup is going to be able to make a page load fast if it takes the server for a while to respond. Google has some guidance around time to first byte. In general, they recommend time to first byte be under 800 milliseconds. I would even say under 200 milliseconds is a really good metric to shoot for. You can test out how long it takes your server to respond. Let's say I'm 1-800-flowers.com, you right click and click inspect, and then you can go to the network tab here, I'll refresh, see all the different assets that are loaded. Then you go to your HTML asset, which will normally be at the very top. You'll click that and then click timing. And then you can see here, the waiting for server response will measure your time to first byte. This is going to be important to monitor because if your site is slow and you think it's not a JavaScript or CSS issue, you might want to check time to first byte. This is literally the first thing that needs to happen. If your server doesn't respond, it bottlenecks everything else and nothing else can be loaded on the page until that happens. So if you're seeing slower time to first byte, you need to check if you have a large amount of redirects, if you have a large database that the browser has to basically query against, if your hosting or server isn't optimal, if you're not using a CDN. There's different things you can check. You'll want to talk with a web developer in terms of improving, but it's important to know if you have a slower time to first byte and how you can measure what your time to first byte is, because if it's slower, it slows everything on the site down.